Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Turtles counting on 1, 2, 3, 4. Turtles is a chain reaction. Turtles living underground. Turtles ninjutsu action. Turtles, you're the shell of the town. I love being a turtle. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think I should just open all my reviews with the musical number.
Intro!
In case you haven't guessed by the title or the song of choice, today I'm going to be talking about the 2014 release of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The way I feel like they came up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so they drew 4 words out of a hat and tried to make a billion-dollar franchise on it. And it worked. The only thing that stuck out about this movie to me was not the writer, not the director, but the producer, who is none other than the infamous Michael Bay, who is most notable for peeing on our childhoods with Transformers, and now this. I heard downright terrible reviews for this movie. It has like a 19 on Rotten Tomatoes right now, and I was really scared going into this movie. I basically did this review just so I could sing that song. I was constantly waiting for the hit on the back of my head that made me realize how bad this movie was and how awful it was going to be on my life. But honestly, it wasn't that bad. This is by no means a great movie. It is no Captain America the Winter Soldier. It's no X-Men Days of Future Past. It is no Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. However, I did enjoy myself more than I thought I would in this movie. First of all, I'd like to point out I'm not the biggest Turtles fan. Like, I had the 2003 action figures. I got the TMNT action figures that came out in like 2007, 8, or 9. And I also knew all the Turtles' names, and I had the backpack when I was like in first grade. And I watched the 2003 series from now and again. And so I'm familiar with the lore, I'm just not as connected with it as some other people are. But back to this movie. The Turtles are great in this movie. The two that really stand out to me are Mikey and Raph. Mikey is just an overall really good presence. He does get a little tedious here and there, but that's kind of what his character is. And he does pull his weight all the way through. He's really fun to be around. Raph really surprised me because of the 4 Turtles, he had the most development in this movie, and I don't think anyone really tried that. It's either the whole team has to overcome something, or it's usually just Leonardo. And the pacing and length of this movie is really good. Like, I didn't feel like I was in the theater for long, and they had me gripped basically the entire time. And now to Megan Fox's April O'Neil. I thought she was fine. People have had some really strong opinions about April O'Neil and Megan Fox playing her, like Jeremy Jahns and Andre from Black Nerd Comedy. But in this movie, she was fine, she was functional, it wasn't a breakout performance or anything, but here's how I view April O'Neil. Much like Rogue in the first X-Men movie or Robin, how he was introduced to the comics, he was our point of reference. April O'Neil is the human perspective viewing the Turtles, and she is the audience. And if you view April O'Neil like that, I think you'll enjoy her performance just fine. And she is respectfully clothed throughout the entire movie. So good job, filmmakers! But now's a good time as ever just to get into the negatives. Let's talk about the 2 Turtles I didn't really care about. Leonardo just didn't have much of a character at all. He was kind of a leader. He did leaderish things, but he didn't have much of a personality outside of saying things here or there. He was very underused. And the turtle that seemed to look the worst and be portrayed the worst was Donatello. I know he's the smart one, but people have this weird stereotype where smart people are officially nerdy, like commonly that is associated with each other, and sometimes that is true. But the way I view Donatello is that he is even though he's the smart one, he is just connected as everyone else, because this is a story about brothers. And Will Arnett's character is a little tedious at times. I would have liked him to have been Casey Jones, but I kind of understand what they were doing. Maybe for the sequel. The other problem with this movie is it's filled with unoriginal thinking and cliches. I'd have to do a whole other video just talking about which parts are from which movies. Like, yep, that part's from Star Wars. Yep, that part's from Batman Returns. That part's from Psych. But the biggest problem with this story is not only the ending, which other critics have pointed out, like Jeremy Jahns and Chris Stuckman, but the entire movie is basically The Amazing Spider-Man with Ninja Turtles. Some of the turtles look off here and there. Some of the camera looks like the cameraman has ADHD. Yeah! Hey, what are you doing with my camera? Ah! Even though the camera can get incredibly shaky at times, the Bayisms are completely toned down exponentially from Transformers 4. Splinter looks so unrealistic and bad in this movie. He's just not fun to look at. My last problem with the movie are the Foot Clan. Even though they kind of mention here and there that they're like ninjas, they seem more like a crime gang than anything. But it would have been so much cooler to see them as ninjas, like with actual swords and not guns. And to compensate with that plot point, the turtle shells are bulletproof. Let's test that here. Here is my turtle. And here is my gun. Now let's test this out. Myth busted. In conclusion, I'm not going to get spoilery about this because I could rant on for a long time and I can't remember everything I really want to talk about. That'll probably be a video when it comes out on Netflix or something. But I think it's worth watching once. I think you should at least get it on Netflix. On Rotten Tomatoes, I gave it 3 out of 5. It's an enjoyable movie. You can tear apart a lot of parts about it. Some visual effects are eh. Some of the action is eh. But there are some pretty enjoyable moments, and I suggest you check it out, maybe renting it from Redbox or Netflix or something. So how well versed are you in the turtle universe, and which turtle or turtles would you say you're a combination of? Let me know below in the comments. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe below. Now what other things can I think of that are 4 words and will make $1 billion franchise? Narwhal Norwegian bomber sharks? No, we already have an animal. Ninja? Camelodians. No, Camelodians isn't a word. Lion computerized wizard